Cute little girl.
And she brought her in?
She got her in about a month ago.
Uh,
She had a doctor's appointment for her needles and she came here.
Okay, we're good to go. Okay. And we'll call the meeting to order at 5 p.m. And we have the adoption agenda, please.
Moved by Frank and seconded by Ken. That the draft agenda presented to the committee and dated October 15th, 2025 be hereby adopted as circulated.
All in favor? It's passed. Accepting the minutes of the previous meeting. Over to supplementary, please.
By Ken and seconded by Lauren. That the minutes of the Committee of Adjustment meeting of September 17th, 2025 be adopted as circulated.
All in favor? Any business arising from the minutes? Okay, seeing none. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none, if anything arises that comes up, just advise the clerk, please. Chair's comments. Good evening and welcome to this evening's Committee of Adjustment meeting. The Council of the Municipality of East Ferris has empowered this committee to make decisions on minor variance and consent to sever applications on their behalf. The committee is made up of 5 citizen members and 2 members of council. The members are as follows. Frank, would you start, please?
Yeah. Greg Curtin, staff representative.
Terry Kelly, council.
Monica Hawkins, recording clerk.
Steve Austin.
Lauren Roy Acres Council.
Thank you. The process will be as follows. I will ask the applicant to present their application in the order listed on the agenda. The committee will ask any questions they have of the applicant. Staff will then provide their comments about the application and give an overview of correspondence that's been received. Members of the public will present and answer questions if needed. We will allow for a 10-minute maximum time limit on all public comments to the committee. We will then move to a motion to approve or refuse the application. We'd ask that everyone be respectable in their presentations. Comments should be directly related to the application. We will now move to the first item on the agenda, and that is B 2025-10, Deacon Tim Foster on behalf of the Roman Catholic Episcopal Corporation, Pembroke. And then we will go to A 2025-06, which is Kelly Fenton Beckett, and 2025-07, once again on Tim Foster, Deacon on behalf of the Roman Catholic Episcopal Corporation. Would you come forward, Tim, please?
Oh, yeah.
Please. So,
Purpose of the requested consent for is because it's our property is not big enough. The church property is not big enough. We won't meet the present bylaw of 2 acres. It's already under that, and the purpose of variance is to be able to sever to Becky Fenton so that they can eventually put in a driveway of their own. They've been sharing the driveway of the church since that house was built by Paul Rochford, I think, in the many years ago. So it's to allow for them to add the property to their property and remove it from ours. I don't know whether I have to say anything else, or do you have any questions?
any questions from the committee?
I think that one was for the variation, right?
No, the consent.
Consent, yeah,
The consent.
for consent to set. Okay, that's all I have unless somebody has questions.
You have some comments?
Sure. So for this one, we received comments from the North Bay Conservation Authority. They indicated generally no concerns. The one thing I will say is that there's no septic on file for either property involved in this application. They didn't indicate that that's something that needs to be rectified or brought into compliance right now, but it's just something to note. They did further say that there's no concerns with the location of those systems despite not having a permit, and that neither of them should pose any, bylaw risk or building code risk as far as deficient setbacks to lot lines or anything of that nature. In objection to the application. From a staff perspective, This is a scenario that we've dealt with before, generally speaking at the committee. But I'll quickly explain a bit of the framework around why the variances are required here. It's actually a theme we'll see in our next application as well. But whenever lot lines change on a property, we need to apply current zoning standards to those lots. So in this case, the applicant is seeking to move the property line, essentially transfer a piece from the church property to the neighbors at 1385, I believe it was. Yes, 1385 Village Road. So when they go through that process of transferring a section of land, it modifies the property lines of each property. And in that case, we need to apply the current zoning bylaw standards to each of those properties independently. So because neither of those properties would meet our minimum 2-acre lot area requirements of the zoning bylaw, in addition to the severance application, a minor variance application for each property individually also needs to be requested to recognize lot area deficiency from the 2 acres. It's a very technical thing. It sounds kind of, silly to have to go through that process when you're not creating any new lots, you're not changing significantly. But the zoning and planning act perspective, that's required to just recognize that. So based on the fact that they're making a minor adjustment to the lot line, there's no new construction proposed, there's no new lots proposed. There's very little in the way of municipal planning policies that are really at play here, and staff have no objections to the application.
Okay. Any comments from the committee?
No, I just have a question. So if we approve the minor variance for both pieces of property, if it's understood that the church may be torn down, does that minor variance continue with that piece of property? Or do the people that are going to purchase it have to apply again?
Yeah, no, good question. So minor variance approvals always stay with the property rather than the owner.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, just with the access, because the way I read it, these people have access to their house via the church's property at a point in time. So they still will have access via the church's property. They won't have direct access to the road.
So so they do actually have frontage along Village Road right now, but there's, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's mostly hindered by a large rock or a topographical change right at the front. Yes, I'm seeing nodding back there. Although their current configuration, their driveway actually comes off the easterly edge of the property into the church parking lot. By giving that section, they will maintain what's there at the moment, no changes, but it gives them enough of a sliver along the road to reroute their driveway to have direct access once the church property is sold.
And there will be no objections to them getting that access for the driveway.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Solution. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Frank and seconded by Steve. The consent application B 2025-10 submitted by Deacon Tim Foster on behalf of the Roman Catholic Episcopal Corp Pembroke, requesting permission for a lot addition to the adjacent property at 1385 Village Road. Be approved upon the completion of the standard conditions listed in the notice of decision.
All in favor? Sorry, Frank.
Greg, just one more question, if I could.
Sure.
In the additional information, it had 2507 twice. Other applications, it says minor variance application A 2025-07 and A 2025-07.
Oh, okay. Thanks. We'll note that. We can correct a clerical error like that after the fact.
Okay.
But that's a good thing to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All in favor of the motion? Yes. Now we got 2025-06. Thanks, Tim. 06, which is Kelly Pitt and Beckett. Tied in the same, eh?
Yeah, we could have dealt with them all
But we just always want to deal with them all at one time.
Yeah, so, I should have maybe clarified beforehand, but typically when we deal with a consent that has minor variance applications that are directly tied to the outcome, we would usually deal with them all as one kind of package. But we should read the resolutions at the very least.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you'll deal with, and then.
we've already talked about the whole file,
Oh, so just go ahead.
unless there's further questions.
Is there any questions at all about, because it's just the same procedure, just,
Yeah.
okay. It's a procedural thing, really. Okay,
Okay, so the minor variance is okay? Okay, so I need a mover and a seconder, moved by Ken and seconded by Lauren.
Kelly came forward, there's nothing to say.
That minor variance application 8/2025/06 submitted by Kelly Fenton Beckett to request exemption to the lot area requirements of zoning bylaw to have a lot area of 0.70 acres where 2 acres is required be approved.
All in favor? We'll stop.
Definitely not one.
And
It's definitely.
The next one is.
It's the other.
it's a minor variance again. I need a mover and a seconder, moved by Lauren and seconded by Frank. That minor variance application 8/2025/07 submitted by Deacon Tim Foster on behalf of Roman Catholic Episcopal Court, Pembroke, requesting exemption to the lot area requirements of the zoning bylaw. Lot area of 1.4 acres where 2 acres is required be approved.
All in favor? And it's passed. Okay, so now we come to B 2025-11 and A 2025-08. Dennis Harmon on behalf of Georgette Perrin and Carmen Harmon. Thanks, Tim. Take care.
Thank you.
Evening. And you have,
Oh, we didn't change the picture yet, guys. There we are. So we found that the guy knows that their septic system is on our property. So it's just simply just sell them the land it's on and move on from there.
okay. Questions from the committee?
So you are Mr. Larmer?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Steve, any questions? Lauren?
Just wondering how it happened, that's all. With the picture.
These are older properties.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's amazing what happened in the 50s and 40s and 50s and 60s. Before the rules and regs were as tight as they are now, and was very little oversight.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
yeah,
okay.
and you see that on the lake, we see it a lot, simply because the lots are so small. They were mostly cottages at the time.
Mhm.
Now they've been converted to homes, it's a different ballgame.
Hmm.
Comments from staff, please.
Sure. So this, the comments are going to be very similar to the last application. So we received comments from the North Bay Mattawa Conservation Authority only on this one. They, unsurprisingly, because of the reason why the application is made, they noted that there is no septic permit on file for the application. This one as well. And the application is being made primarily to adjust the lot line to accommodate a septic system that's not located on the property that it serves, which is 48 South Shore Road. Otherwise, the North Bay Mattawa Conservation Authority doesn't have any primary issues. They do note an adjacent wetland area that is unevaluated that may pose future development constraints. They would issue a permit and review at that time if any development was proposed. From a staff perspective, similar issues at play here. We have a lot line adjustment to a lot that is substandard in size. So the variance application is required to facilitate that severance application. We're basically looking at the double lane of a property that's about 0.4 of an acre to about 0.8 of an acre. And the intention is to accommodate the septic system. Really no concerns. It rounds it out actually in a nice way with the existing lot fabric. It pulls it right over to the adjacent property line to the east, and it makes sense with the layout.
With the measurements, correct?
Yeah, the area is about 0.8 of an acre total. The measurements, are you looking like frontage?
For the proposed change.
Yeah, I can tell you that is. Yeah, the pointer. Yeah, we'll use Frank's pointer. So you're looking for the distance there?
Just to.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Yes, they weren't included on the applicant's sketch that they provided. But the additional area that they're looking to add is approximately 43 meters in width. And that adds on to the existing lot frontage that's about 30 meters. So you end up with about 73 meters of total frontage. And the depth of the property is about 45 meters across the entire length.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? Okay,
Anyone in the audience?
that's right. Anybody from the audience want to make any comments or any? Seeing none, anybody in favor of this? Have a move in a second, please.
By Steve. And seconded by Lauren. The consent application B 2025-11 submitted by Dennis Larmet on behalf of Georgette Perron and Carmen Larmet, requesting permission to allow for a lot addition to the adjacent property at 48 South Shore Road be approved conditional upon the completion of the standard conditions listed in the notice of decision.
All in favor? Yes. Thank you.
Mover and seconder, moved by Frank and seconded by Ken. That minor variance application A 2025-08 submitted by Dennis Larmet on behalf of Georgette Perron, Carmen Larmet, and Lucille Gagnon, requesting a minor variance to permit a lot area of 0.8 acres, whereas bylaw number 2021-60 requires 2 acres, be approved.
All in favor? And it's passed. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch with copies of the decision and the next steps.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, well, I'm gonna get.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See.
Correspondence and information.
That's for the. That's where we this. So yeah, so this is a copy of a resolution. This is following up on our discussion from our September Committee of Adjustment meeting where we were discussing the accessory structure floor area and whether or not that should be modified. So the committee had asked us to take a look at some potential wording for our resolution. So this was the resolution that was circulated to packages to the committee. We're open to any suggestions on change in wording, but this is effectively recommending to council that we consider reviewing whether or not changes should be made to section 3.27 of the zoning bylaw, which deals with accessory structure size. So if anyone has any questions on the resolution, I'd be happy to answer them.
That was brought on because of the question asked that everybody was looking for an additional increase in size, right?
Yeah.
The garage is mainly,
So which one did we change them all or just the one? 9.6, yeah.
No, so this was brought forward. I believe it was you, Frank, that brought it forward at the last meeting about whether or not this trend in applications, it maybe warrants a closer look. So effectively what this resolution is saying is it's recommending to council that they take a closer look and direct staff to consider whether changes in the policy are required or not. This committee doesn't have the authority to make changes to these Ferris zoning bylaw. Only council can do that. So this resolution is providing a little bit of background just as to which section of the zoning bylaw does regulate those structures. and how it currently does that. And then it goes on to say that there's a trend where these applications are essentially always approved and have never been turned down since our 2021 zoning bylaw came into effect. Therefore, based on the trend, maybe it's worth taking a look to see whether or not those are still accurate values or not. So the recommendation that's outlined in this resolution is telling council that this committee thinks it may be worth taking a closer look. Doesn't necessarily mean that the outcome will be that they change. It's just recommending that council ask staff to take kind of a deep dive on it and present some options.
And these numbers of 960 and 1600 are based on this type of.
That's based on our existing zoning bylaw framework. So currently, our zoning bylaw regulates accessory structure floor area for residential uses based on lot area. So there's three separate categories. So every property that has less than 1.5 acres of lot area is allowed up to 960 square feet as of right. And then between 1.5 and 10 acres, you're allowed 1,200 square feet as of right. And then above 10 acres, you're allowed 1,600 square feet as of right, which is where those numbers in that range comes from. But we've noticed that there's been a historical trend where we see a lot of applications to increase those values. And, sometimes it's nice to take a look, but if we keep on approving them, the question becomes, should the baselines be higher? And we'll have to, we would want to take a close look and see what that would mean, et cetera, et cetera. And so, like I said, this committee can't change that, but they can ask council if they want to take a look at it. And just, sometimes this committee can be more in tune with the types of things we're seeing because we do it month in, month out than council is, because they don't necessarily see these applications all the time.
Yeah, what I'm getting at is, do we suggest the increases?
Oh, I see what you're saying. If the committee wants to, I mean, it's well within the committee's right to put forward a suggestion. When I drafted the resolution, I left it open-ended just to recommend that staff do a review. But if there's numbers that you have in mind and committee as a whole wants to make an amendment, I mean, that's something.
So those amendments would come from the store that you've got.
Yeah, so typically the way the process would go is that if council thinks it's worth investigating, they would normally pass a resolution directing staff to go back and take a look and then bring a report back to council. So if we are instructed to do that, then I'll go through our historical records, I'll compare against other municipalities' bylaws and kind of see where we fall and see what the average of applications we've had in the past have been, and then provide all that data to council and ask them what they'd like to do.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
Suggestion of change, yeah.
Yeah.
In the way the bylaws are currently structured, when someone applies or chooses not to apply to go oversize, there's nothing prohibiting them from asking or building multiple buildings.
No, there's not. There's not.
Which again, actually takes up more area than what some of these larger single buildings would have taken in the first place. They can go around and build multiple buildings.
Yes.
With the way the bylaws are structured right now.
Yes, that's correct. And I think I probably know which example you're thinking of. There is that is happening in the municipality right now. Some municipalities do regulate actual number of accessory structures as well. It's a lot more common in urban environments. In rural environments, you tend to have a lot more different types of structures that people want to have, whether it is garage, storage shed, wood shed, multiple. They start to kind of add up because of the size of the properties, the varied uses on properties. But those are the type of things that we could look at and maybe should consider. But yes, you're right. Currently, you can build of a maximum size, provided that you have the lot area to do it, because all structures are still bound by lot coverage. So you can still only cover 10% of your total lot area, regardless of how many structures you have. So, yeah.
I just use that as perhaps another point of information to consider changing the current structure so that people can't build larger buildings as opposed to being forced to build multiple buildings.
Multiple of one. Yeah, you could look at it one of two ways. You could look at that as either a negative, and it would be better if someone built one larger structure than multiple, or you could look at it as someone skirting the regulations and building a bunch side by side in order to kind of get around those provisions. So it depends in which way you look at it.
And you have, I'm sorry, pardon me, Frank, do you have any comments?
I'm good.
Okay. Or,
Good.
I'm sorry, I have one comment.
sure,
This is did we get this in our package?
Yes.
yes,
Yeah, I apologize, I didn't read.
that's okay.
I was gonna say, maybe we should have a chance to read it and respond to you. With,
We can bring it back, we can defer it if you want, I mean,
Yeah, there's no rush to bring this forward to council. If you'd like to take another meeting cycle to consider, it was circulated with the agenda on Friday, I believe, Monica.
Yes, okay.
But no, that's okay. But if the committee wants to take some time to digest, there's no time sensitive element to this request.
Steve, you have comments?
Oh,
Okay. One thing, the only one comment I meant, is I have this. Over the years, I've seen a real proliferation of the plastic sheds. And after about 2 years of freezing rain and ice storms and windstorms, and some people keep them up. I know I got a neighbor that's recovered his about 4 times in the last 15 years. And some people, it just flaps in the wind for a couple of years. It becomes a skeleton. It looks like crap, quite frankly. Anyway, I don't know, I know we built a big garage. And you never build them too big, quite frankly, because there's always we talk about the toys. We accumulate, we do. I know I do, anyway. So I'm in favor of, and we've never turned one down. That's what, you were the one that brought up at the last meeting or the meeting before. We haven't turned one down, and quite frankly, most of the lots on the lake are not an acre in size. It might be 3/4 of an acre, half an acre. We've talked about that, Warren, at this committee, because one of the lots were small, they were little cottage lots, usually farmland that had been subdivided. And back in the 40s and 50s, it was just one in front, no one really cared how deep it was, as long as you had access. So anyway, do you want to take another month to look it over?
I don't think there's really a decision being made. It's just giving direction to Greg to look at the historical data and compare it to the bylaw that we have right now, and then council sort of assesses, right? So this is just really direction for you to explore, right?
Yes, if council accepts this recommendation, then it will become formal direction to do that. At this point, it's this committee flagging the issue basically and trying to make council aware, and then let council decide if they want to pursue it or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So.
I mean, if somebody come forward right now, like they've done in the last couple of years, and said, well, we're allowed 960, we want to build something 40 by 30, which is 1,200 square feet. Normally, we just say, no problem, it's almost like a rubber stamp. So I have no problem recommending that Greg looks it over and then brings it to council. See what they decide. And if someone has any thoughts on the square footage, give it some thought and give Greg a call. If you don't mind, I think that's a good idea. Because normally it's not a big percentage of increase that we've seen. They go from 960, they might want something, as I say, 40 by 30, which is 1,200. I mean, they're not doubling, most of them aren't looking at doubling in size.
Most of them aren't, no. Some of that is kind of dealt with through the pre-application process as well. It's very, very rare that we receive an application where I haven't already had a meeting with the person making the application. So a lot of times we have those discussions about, type of increase can I apply for? And I mean, the answer is you can apply for anything you want, but I try to guide people with some perspective on what the committee has seen before and what, sometimes falls within a reasonable range. So we sometimes weed out some of those ones before they get to you.
Okay.
But you are right that it's rare that we see like double or anything like that.
Maybe they're talked down, I don't know, I mean, that's not my role of course, so. But I know we've seen, and it does take up our time and people have to make a presentation. And it's, bless you, it's almost a rubber stamp, so. Like, I'm in favor of increasing. If anybody has any thoughts on increasing what size?
To do that logically, you'd have to look back at all the records.
Yeah,
You can't
I
just
think
pick a number.
Get an
out.
idea,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, at the end of the day, if somebody does come to you and it's over is it 10% of the whole lot area you can't cover? You can't go over that?
Yeah.
Well, if it's too big, then there's a restriction for them building an aircraft hangar or something.
And it's like sight lines on the lake and stuff, we're not gonna have it built and so someone else can't see the lake, so, we take that in, that's what we have professional planners.
They're all things we'll have to take a look at. You definitely have to have some type of upper maximum and not just lot area. I'll just give you an example. So if we have say a minimum size 2 acre lot, and you do the math on say a 10% lot area, and let's say they have a 2,000 square foot home on the lot. If you said no restrictions except the 10% lot area, that would entitle them to build about a 6,400 square foot garage. So it gets pretty large pretty quick. And I don't think that we want to be allowing 6,000 square foot garages out there, right? Yeah, so there needs to be a bit of a more careful look taken at it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So leave it like that, is that okay? Okay. Everybody's fine with it? Okay.
Okay.
So,
you want to send this to council?
yes, please.
Okay, so I'll need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Frank and seconded by Ken. Whereas the Committee of Adjustment note that a significant percentage of minor variance applications being received or seeking exemptions from section 327 of zoning bylaw 2021-60. And whereas section 327 of zoning bylaw 2021-60 regulates the floor area of accessory structures to residential uses in rural and residential zones. And whereas section 327 of zoning bylaw 2021-60 currently regulates accessory structure size based on lot area, with the maximum accessory structure floor area ranging between 960 square feet on lots under 1.5 acres and lot area to 1,600 square feet on lots greater than 10 acres in lot area. And whereas the Committee of Adjustment has been supportive of all applications submitted for an exemption to section 327 since the adoption of bylaw 2021-60 by East Ferris Council on January 11, 2021. Be it hereby resolved that the Committee of Adjustment recommend to Council that a review of provision 327 of zoning bylaw 2021-60 be undertaken to determine whether it would be appropriate to increase the maximum permitted floor area for accessory structures to residential uses on lots in rural or residential zones.
All in favor? Okay. Anything, camera? Okay, have a mover and seconder for adjournment, please.
And Lauren and seconded by Steve. That we do now adjourn at 5:32 p.m. and meet again on November 19, 2025 is required.
All in favor? Very much for coming.